Welcome back to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen. Singer-songwriter Stephanie Mathias is back with a lot of great news to share. She was last on the show in May 2020. In that time, she has remained very busy with new music, including Hero Side and Blue Diamond Light, available on all streaming platforms on March 26th. Stephanie and I talk about her work over the last 10 months, including the influences for the two songs and how real life played a role. We also look at other artists she'll be working with in the future, including a cool podcast that she's recently joined. And folks, she is back. I am joined once again by singer-songwriter Stephanie Mathias. There is a lot to talk about with new singles, music videos, and some really, really great news. Stephanie, welcome back to the show. It is awesome having you here.
Thank you so much, Max. I'm excited. I really loved interviewing with you last time, so it's great to be here.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So,
absolutely.
Now we last spoke about 10 months ago, back when all this pandemic thing was kind of, I think we all thought it would be over by now. Yeah, sigh. Oh, back in the day when we thought this would all be said and done in a few weeks.
Thinking that it was a year ago when it all started. I just hate thinking about it.
Crazy times. But I want to open by asking, as an artist, how has this last year gone for you? Like, what were you able to do with time and to keep active?
You know, obviously that's a wonderful question, and it actually, when I think about it, I actually feel good about myself because, you know, sometimes recently with all the stuff that I want to do, I've been like overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, and we're still pandemic, and you know, but I feel hopeful because I think of the things that I've accomplished in the past year. I've released a bunch of singles. I released It's My Thing at the time of our last interview. I released a music video for a song I'd previously recorded. And then Hero Side was released in October, acoustic version, full version, and music video, which was really fun to do. And I wrote music, which was difficult. It's difficult to write when you're being traumatized by the pandemic and 2020 in general. And so that was exciting. I wrote the song that I'm going to be releasing next, Blue Diamond Light, over the summer. And I wrote another song as well, which will be released later this year. I feel good about that. I feel good that I've accomplished that. I also co-wrote 2 songs. Well, the second one co-writing, you said in the past year, not necessarily in 2020. So yeah, co-wrote 2 songs. I'm working on a third collaboration right now. So that, and I've never co-written a song before. So I've really grown as an artist. I've grown my following. I've done a lot of live streaming, I've still worked on my business where I play cover songs on electric violin. I did a lot of that over the fall. You know, in the midst of pandemic, that was very encouraging. I was super hardcore about safety measures, but I was just happy to be working. Yeah, so I've done a lot. and aside, in addition to that, I've also hosted a podcast for the first time, co-hosted with 4 other musicians. And so I've been busy. And in addition to that, I've been adjusting to life as a family, and I have gone through a lot of personal stuff and personal challenges that when you put them all on a resume, make me look like a superhero. And, so I have overcome, and I've learned a lot through that. And I've shared a lot of that with my fans, and, feel good that I've been able to encourage them, inspire them, in that way. So like when I put it all in a list like that, I feel good about the past year, which is encouraging. Like I said, this past week or so, I've been like, oh man, so overwhelmed. But when you ask that question, I've been busy.
You have. You also did a TV appearance. I saw that.
Oh yeah. Wait, which one? What?
Oh, which one?
Oh, Fox 5. Sorry, it's because there was a TV show that I was on recently. So yes, Fox 5 DC. Yes, I did that as well. So there you go.
So,
lots of things. I can't even keep track. So, that makes me, I feel encouraged when you getting to answer that. And because it has it, like, when you think about it, you think, oh my gosh, what a hard year, all the things I wanted to do, all the things like where I wish I could be. And then when you list it like that, you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing okay.
I would say you're doing better than okay. I'd say you're doing pretty good, because we talked about this prior to the interview. There was some big news you wanted to share.
Yes.
Can we share it now?
Yes, I am pregnant. I'm very happy. It's exciting for those who know about the loss that I've had. I had a miscarriage 4 months ago, and I got a ton of support, because it's not something that a lot of people always share when they go through that, because it's a very, very personal loss. And some people, don't always want to share that. But as soon as you share it, it's surprising how common this happens with women. And so that was something very, very difficult for me to go through. And it was so unexpected. And so, but I'm happy. I was very happy to be pregnant at the time. So I'm happy to be pregnant again. and this baby's doing great. And I'm tired. I'm in the first trimester, so I've been sick. This is actually the first podcast. I had to cancel a bunch of things. I really wanted to make this one, but I got medication and I'm doing well enough to be able to interview and do things like that again. So but I'm very excited. This is the first podcast that I am announcing this on. So this is great. I'm excited.
Well, my sincere congratulations to your family. This is amazing news. Nothing but the best for me to you. This is wonderful news. Truly, truly it is.
Thank you. We're really happy.
You talked earlier about sharing the news of the miscarriage with your fans. Was that a difficult thing to reveal, especially something so deeply personal? I know for musicians, you put your hearts and souls out there in your music. Did you have any kind of second thoughts about sharing the news with your fans when this happened?
Yeah, I did. Because it's hard to know, like, when you go through a loss, it's kind of hard to know what to share, because your emotions are like all over the place. And you're like, what do I share? How do I word this? Like, I don't want people to, well, I think at the time, maybe I did a little bit. I usually don't want people to feel sorry for me. I'm trying to remember how I felt in that moment, because, I didn't know what to say. So but I did feel like, okay, I should share this, mainly because I had shared my pregnancy with a lot of people, and it was just easier to just share publicly that I had the miscarriage, so I didn't have to individually tell everyone. So that was kind of like, okay, I guess this is happening publicly. But I was so glad once I did do that. I was so glad that I shared it, because I just received tons of support. It was, I don't know. I mean, I really want to talk about this, because I was so happy. I'm like, you know what? I did okay. Another thing, where I'm like, I did okay in 2020, because I've surrounded myself with supportive people, even if it's online. It's because you don't know what to expect when you go through a big loss. Some people are in life in general, in the world, are kind and others aren't, right? So I had kind people respond to me, and everyone. And yeah, maybe there were some reservations on sharing, and it literally took me a whole day to write the post. So, because I'm like that in general, where I really think about what I'm trying to say when I'm online. So something as deep as this took me all day to write. And but I'm very glad that I did do it. In general, I'm an open person. I recently spoke with someone who just a couple weeks ago went through the same thing and had a miscarriage, and she said that she was inspired that I shared my experience, just shared it, that it happened. And she said, I don't know if or when I can share that. She says, I want to, because I think people should be aware about it. And, she was kind of inspired to do it. But I said, that's up to you, how you feel and what I always go with my gut and my feelings. And so if people feel that they should be more private about it and want to grieve privately, like, I respect that too. That's just kind of who I am as an artist, because I think this will give you a good example of the stuff that I talk about, because I write about things that I'm going through. I write and I share, like, and even, well, I share the things that happen as they happen. I keep it real, and people appreciate that, which, like I said, is very kind of them. And I talk about a lot more than just this loss. I've also had COVID. We all had COVID. Shortly after that, I had depression in the summer and shared about that. And that, like, but those things and overcoming them, and especially like, and they've all been different things that have happened, and, losing your job and, like, changing your everything. Those are things, like, they're all different kinds. Like, so I've had to grow in so many ways, like physically, emotionally, mentally. And so I feel like I've really been put through a test, but I've been very open about it, because I think, okay, as soon as I learn something, like having gone through depression and overcoming that, I'm like, okay, I want to share that with everyone. And having gone through the miscarriage, like, yeah, I want to, talk about this and bring awareness to this. But really, though, still my focus is always like mental and emotional health, because I feel like the more that we take care of our mental and emotional health, the more we can get through anything. And another thing that I talked about in my live streams was racism and all of that happened with the George Floyd murder. And so in political, I don't get political, but I talk about I feel like if we are kind to ourselves, kind to each other, taking care of our mental health, taking care of our emotional health, then we can not only get through hard stuff, but grow it, be better as a society. So
I wanted to ask a bit about the response you got when you shared the news that you had the miscarriage. But did you hear from people who said that I went through the exact same thing? Did you get that a lot?
Yes. And I've heard this phrased by other people, and it's accurate. It's like all of a sudden you join this club that, like, appears out of nowhere, because people don't talk about it. But then once you say, hey, I've had this happen to me, everyone's like, phew, like, I went and counted the comments, over 30 miscarriages just in the comments of my post. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's 1 out of 4. I don't know if it's 1 out of 4 women who get pregnant, or 1 out of 4 pregnancies. So I don't remember the exact statistic, but that is still a high statistic either way. It's crazy. Why aren't we aware of this? Why are we so blindsided? It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, yes, that happened, but that was actually what helped me get through it, was because people were kind enough to say, hey, this happened. And I knew a couple of people who were open like myself about it. And I've reached out to them because I'm like trying to figure out how to process, right? And so I had someone who had a situation similar to mine and kind of has a similar, like, openness about mental health. And, she actually came to my house and, like, brought me food and, like, social distance and sat with me. And she had said, hey, I wrote this blog post about it, and this helped me. And it was a little bit different. We had slightly different experience, but a lot was in common. And so, like, I felt like, okay, I'm not alone in this. It really, really helped me. It really helped me to feel not alone. So it's strange that it's not talked about, because that helped me so much. But I also realized it is really talked about. But it's kind of, like I said, it's like all of a sudden a club that you just magically enter. So I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I'm not saying, hey, we need to make this, like, headline news or something. I don't know. But maybe it would be good if more people knew about it, then we wouldn't be so blindsided. So, but we want to be hopeful when we're pregnant as well, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's why people don't talk about it, because like, you want to say, oh, congratulations, you're pregnant. Yeah, 75. You have a 25% chance this isn't going to work out. Like, good luck. So I don't know. I don't know the answers right now.
That would be an awkward thing for your doctor to say to you.
Right. So, but now I guess I understand. Now I fully understand like why people don't announce pregnancy right away. Even this pregnancy that I'm experiencing now, it's still pretty early. And we've gone farther than the last one, which is great. But I realized that it's okay to talk about being pregnant, and because it'll be okay if there's a loss, because I've made it through and I've gotten a lot of support. But that being said, I'm very optimistic. I know that this is going to go well, and yeah, what else can you do? Just hope for the best, right?
Exactly. One silver lining that I'm getting from hearing, you found a real community here. You found a lot of people who are going through the exact same thing, and that you're able to connect with them, so that even during a time where you really can't connect with anyone, you were able to find that kind of support to help.
Absolutely. It was very, very important that I received love and support. And for people who haven't had this happen and have a friend or someone that they know go through this, I would say, just let them know that you love them, and that if they need anything, it really does. It does mean something, or like, offer help, or like whatever, offer food. Food is always good. Always good thing. My friend, she lives a bit too far to drop off food, so she ordered food, and like all of a sudden, like I had dinner dropped off at my door that day that I told her, and like that made me really happy. And also just acknowledging support, like like just everyone was like, well, thanks for sharing this, I'm really sorry. That's being okay with being comfortable with us sharing. I think that's kind of important to say. You don't want to be like awkward about it, right? You want people to feel like, okay, you're still a normal person, you can say what you need to say and share your experience, and I'm just gonna listen, and you're normal, that's fine. Like, I don't know, does that make sense?
It does.
Because people you don't want to be like, oh my gosh, this happened. Like, you don't want to minimize their experience, but you don't want to be like, okay, you're different from me now, I have to stay away or whatever. Like, no, just let people share what they feel like sharing. That was very supportive. Just have people listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of sharing, you have some other good news to share with the world pretty soon, because on March 26th, you drop your new single, Blue Diamond Light, which I've already heard, folks. Sorry, not sorry. Absolutely amazing song. I totally love it. This song deals with coping with depression and searching for inner peace. I'm going to take a stab and say inspired by just the past year, pretty much.
Yeah.
But my question to you is finding inner peace, especially with everything that has gone on the past 12 months, is that difficult?
Yeah. Of course it is.
Next question.
Well, that's why I wrote a song about it, because I felt like it was, and this was even, I was writing this song, or began writing this song, even before I was diagnosed with depression. So I was kind of figuring it out still. Felt like I was just I was growing, I was learning. I had some support from a really cool, coach who I talked to about it, which gave me some inspiration for some of the lyrics. I was in therapy. And I had friends supporting me, just as a musician and human. It's trying to figure out where you fit in. This was around summertime, so when I began writing the song, it almost felt like I was kind of chasing a light, and that's why I literally wrote just about the imagery that I felt looking for inner peace. And as the song developed, I realized that can be found within, no matter what's going on around you. And that's like because, and even recently I realized if I were to choose something that the blue diamond symbolizes, it's our self-worth. So, saying that like no matter what you go through or no matter how broken you feel, you can find peace just knowing that you still have worth. You still have value.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hope people get the message from. But it's also, it's very just kind of gets into the feelings of searching and finding peace. And since that song was written, I've found and lost it, right? So I've gone in and out of the feelings of peacefulness. But like I was talking about this with my therapist 4 days ago, that when I look back, like realizing that you've overcome a lot and you've grown, and you can feel that again because you've, because of what you've learned, because, but no, it's not easy to find and have inner peace, but we do the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey, and it's worth chasing. It's worth doing what we can to take care of ourselves, reaching out for help in ways that support us. For me, it's many different things that have supported me through this year and through life. So yeah, I guess maybe that's also a message too. Like, not only are you worth it, but you're worth it. The journey is worth it.
Exactly. The opening line, I think, sums up what a lot of people who are dealing with this go through and why they may not talk about it. The line goes, "I tell you I'm broken, you say others have it worse." It's that immediate response. It's like you're trying to share pain. They're saying, "Oh, there's people who are going through way worse than you. Don't complain. Be happy for what you got."
That's my favorite line. Yeah. So I'm glad that you've said that.
Yeah, because actually, I dealt with that on a personal level because I lost my mom 5 years ago, and I would try and talk about that. People were like, "Oh, well, I lost my dad, and he suffered a lot." I'm like, dude, it's not a competition.
Right?
I'm not trying to see who's had the most pain here. I'm just trying to talk about it. You don't have to top me on this one. But did you deal with this? Did you find that a lot too? You would try and share what you're going through, and people would just kind of dismiss it. Oh, there are people who are homeless and starving and so and so.
More from myself. I know, and I also see when I see people are depressed in general, I sort of think that. And when I had postpartum depression too, several years ago, like that's sort of something that we feel we're like, maybe we can't get help because it's like we're not jumping off a bridge. So, and or we're not in an extreme situation or whatever we see extreme as, because our minds are pretty distorted when we're going through stuff. So that's kind of one thing. I mean, also, like, sometimes, I mean, the first person I think of is my husband, because he tries so hard, and he's been my superhero. Like, I wrote Hero Side for him. He has been amazing support, but sometimes he does think like that, where it's like, but look at all your blessings and all this great stuff, and it's like, wait a second, no, I need to explain this. Like, I know that, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going through something. So and he has understood that and been very supportive. So but yeah, I think that is something that we experience a lot. And yeah, I mean, your situation is very common from my, from what I've seen. People are, I haven't had that, thankfully. I mean, I lost my mom when I was young, so I'm very sorry to hear about your loss. But I know that that's going to be a different experience than yours. We could compare, and it could be good. That'll be a conversation for another day. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't sit and like say, oh yeah, well, let's see whose loss was harder, right? Like, but that's because I've been through it. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think people who are trying to like one up you are, I feel for them actually, because they're probably in in a space where they have some healing left to do.
Mm-hmm. We touched earlier on the things that have gotten you through this difficult time. What, for you personally, has been a big help to just get through all of this? Not, this entire, past year.
Right. Yeah, I do talk about my husband, and I'm going to just share a little bit more about that, because I think having a support system in my family has, like, something that he would do pretty much every day. He would get home from work, and when I was like on the meds and just laying around most of the day, um, and he would just play the guitar. Like, he would play and sing and put music on, and I would listen, and then I would learn the words and start singing along. And like, I don't know. I wanted to mention that because I think it's really sweet. And he still does it. And the other day I was thinking, like, I want to also have this when I'm not feeling down. Like, I'm so glad that I can appreciate this at all times in life. And I just, just take the time to just sit down and like lay around and enjoy it. You don't have to be depressed to do that. So, and spending the time with my daughter and bonding, because when you're a mom, like, at first you're like, oh my gosh, this is way too much time with my child. But then I realized, like, what a blessing that has been, right? So by finding things, like, it's kind of forced us to find things that we enjoy together. That has been a thing. And also I have so many support systems. I have, my martial arts family that was literally became like a treatment for depression. I was able to get off the depression medication just by going back to martial arts. I mean, I did a lot of things, but I felt like that was major, because I was like, I felt such a sense of like healing as soon as I entered the park and started doing that again. And I, also I rely very much on my spirituality, on church. And I was also skipping out on, they had Zoom church, and I was like, oh, I don't need to go. And I've been going to church like my entire life. And I'm like, skip out. And as soon as I started, like, oh, okay, I need to get some of my normal things back. That has been a huge help. And, the friend that I was talking to you about that brought me food, she's from church, so it was great that I had that support system, and multiple people, not just her, like, reached out and gave support during my miscarriage. So that was wonderful. And my CGC family, Capital Groove Collective, they're the guys that I'm doing the podcast with, and we've become a very tight-knit family this year. Like, we weren't that before this year. This, we've really come together, and we check in with each other. We support each other on our releases. We help each other with anything music wise that we can help each other with. We do it, and we try to do things together. They were a big support to me during the George Floyd murder, because that affected me very deeply. And, feeling like, what's my role in all of this? Like, what can I do? Am I racist? And, things like that. Like, oh my gosh, I need to change things, and what can I do? I'm just sitting here at home in the suburbs, and all this chaos is happening in the world. And they all said, hey, let's write a song about it, and let's have public conversations where we all just, openly and like, kindly talk about the issues and express our different, and we're such a diverse group, so we got to see everyone come together from different races, genders, everything. And so that was very healing and important to me, to feel like I was a part of that. Trying to see if I forgot anything, but those are the things that I can think of. And of course, therapy. I went back into therapy. So it was very supportive after I had postpartum depression. And so I felt like it was time to go back into that. And that has been very beneficial to me as well.
I think it's great that you had but during this time, it's good that you could have that support. I think a lot of folks have been going through some different things, but they can't talk to anyone. They can't see anyone. So there's there's a very strong feeling of isolation as a result of this.
Yeah. So, I mean, even for me, because I've just been so paranoid about, I was very paranoid about that stuff. And obviously, having had COVID, I'm a little less so now. So, I mean, I'm very still pro masking, distancing, and all that great stuff. Obviously, don't recommend 0 out of 10 stars. Getting COVID is not fun. But yeah, definitely but it's so easy to just isolate yourself. And I realized that we do need to still it takes more effort to interact because, okay, you got to worry about masks, you got to worry about social distancing and you got to, or you got to just take more effort because you're in a funk, right? And you don't want to take the effort to even be in that Zoom meeting or whatever. But for me, I was very especially with the CGC, I was very dedicated to connecting with them because it was such a help to me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess the one thing I didn't mention was music, but I think that's a given.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, you have certainly been very productive on the music side. You've got Blue Diamond Light coming out in just a couple of weeks, and Hero Side was released, I believe, last fall, and that's like my favorite song right now. I have listened to that thing like 30 times. It's an absolutely amazing thing.
Thank you.
You mentioned this was kind of written for your husband. Did he kind of inspire it, or was it like previous things that you saw that kind of got the ball rolling on this?
That's a great question. I'm very happy with Hero Side. And it was actually now I can tell this story because at the time I wasn't sure how things were going to happen. But I actually originally started writing the song about saying, are you ready to be my hero and have another baby? So a lot of people don't know that story. I shared it with some of my fans. And so that was actually how and he didn't even know it when I had sung the song for him. Cause I was still so nervous about having this conversation because having a baby is really hard, by the way. So that's actually the fact that we were able to jump into this new adventure together has said a lot about him and us, that we've grown together as superhero parents. Because that's a challenge. But I also, as I was in the midst of writing the song, I actually was also inspired by my friend Emma, who's also in the Capital Groove Collective, and she and I had gotten really close during the beginning of last year, and we still are. And she inspired me because we were sort of being each other's superheroes musically. We were helping each other in the ways that we could. And I was seeing the things that she was struggling with, and she was seeing mine, and supporting each other. So that was also what the song ended up being about. So it's, and then as I was getting ready to publish it, I was diagnosed with depression. All the things happened. I wrote the song and then everything happened. And then the pandemic happened. And I was diagnosed with depression. All the things were happening, and my husband was my superhero, and it kind of became about that because of that how that worked out. But that really was what it was about when I was writing. When I was initially writing it, because of my mental illness, and I was just so scared of having postpartum depression again. It was not fun, and I didn't have the resources when it was happening. So I had so much anxiety about that. And then I catch depression from the pandemic. Catch it. I was I didn't catch COVID, I caught depression. And seeing how much of a superhero he was for me at that time was okay, we can handle anything now. We've grown. So that it kind of it all meshes together. And that's how Blue Diamond Light is. I wrote Blue Diamond Light in the midst of right around the time of being depressed. And then I have a miscarriage, and then I catch COVID, and then it's and the song becomes about that instead, or in addition. During the production, that happens where I was comforted by the song and inspired by the song. I had my miscarriage and going through the intensity of the grief. And I had my song that I had worked on, the takes that we had worked on, and I was listening to it on repeat to comfort myself. So it's cool how music has done that for me, and it's not just those two songs. That's how it is in general. I know that's a very long answer to your question, but like also the music video for Hero Side was with Jarreau Williams, and we were, showed being superheroes for each other. And we are good friends, and we have been superheroes for each other as well. And, because he also is very open about his battles with mental illness. So it was great to like really have someone who in real life do that, who is also an actor, that we could do that together.
Yeah, that video was so cool. I watched, I was like blown away by not just like the high production value, but the story told in the video. Was that your plan A, or did you have to adjust it because of what you couldn't do?
Well, when we were planning it, the pandemic was already happening. So, we had to be we did do a couple things different than my original plan, but actually Emma helped me plan the video. And there wasn't a lot we couldn't really do, like combat or anything too close, but and obviously the masks, I insisted on doing that for safety, but it ended up, Jarreau was with me like, hey, we're going to make this a fashion accessory. And we ended up just looking like ninjas, and it was cool. So yeah, but really other than that, we had, it pretty much went as planned. So I was happy with that, and I felt really cool.
And I love how you designed like your own mask too. That is very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was perfect, right? Because you're a superhero. And
exactly. It works.
You have a mask saying Hero Side. By the way, go to StephanieMathias.com/store to get yours. They're still available. I got salesperson always.
Very smooth. Very nice. I like that. Great pitch.
But thank you. Thank you for shouting them out, because I would have forgot. So thank you.
Any plans for a video for Blue Diamond Light?
Oh, that is a great question. I'm working with an animator who is, it's not going to be like, I know I had told you before the interview that if I had the budget for Hero Side, it would have been like a full-on anime combat video. But in the future, I will do that when I'm rich. But I was really excited to find an animator for Blue Diamond Light. It's a bit of a slower vibe, so you don't have to pay for something that's like 5,000 frames per second of fighting and intensity. So, and she's like got a really cool, kind of soft, peaceful vibe to her video. So I'm excited to do that. I also have a potential video shoot that, again, it's about budget, that I want to do at, I'm thinking like, I don't know, like, is this weird to reveal ideas before they even happen? But because it could end up being something completely different. That's how life is. But it would be cool to do a video at like one of these amazing caves in Virginia. You know how they have like crystal caves and stuff, and since the song is about diamond, I would love to do that. But it may not happen right now. There's a lot going on, so, but in the future, that is a possibility. We're exploring that option right now. But I am excited that we are going to have, that I am going to have an animator make me into a cartoon, and it'll be really, and she has like stars, and it'll be really pretty and peaceful like the song.
Now, when it comes to your music and also to the videos, are you very careful to not do like the same thing twice, do like similar things twice? Because like Blue Diamond, Hero Side, very different tones and vibes in terms of the music.
Yeah, and actually like in the structure, they're very similar. Like the chords and the acoustic version, very similar in instrumentation, right? I mean, all my music's piano, but the production ended up being completely different. Hero Side's a rock song. This is electro pop. And that is actually comes completely organically. Like when I write the song, I just kind of follow what the song's calling me. Like this is the style that it's going to be. Like when I wrote Hero Song Side, I knew it was going to be a rock song. When I wrote this, I knew it was going to be an electronic song. So I I just kind of follow that. I don't necessarily do it on purpose, but I am exploring on purpose. Like I'm excited that I'm trying different styles in terms of production, because I'm still fairly new to the production world. And so, I mean, I'm not producing, but in terms of like releasing my music and preparing it. So I'm exploring different styles, but most of my music, in essence, like when it's stripped back, there are a lot of similarities to the songs themselves. So, and I'm like, in fact, I think that's opposite. Like when I write in my songwriting, so many of my songs are so alike. So it's good that they're so different when they're produced. And so I like something that I would like to grow with and just continue to develop my songwriting skills. But I do have a style, and that's a good thing too, I guess.
Are you still exploring, though, what your style really is all about? Do you find yourself saying, I want to try, this, I want to put some of this in my next song?
Yes. Yes, I am. And it's exciting, especially the violin is fairly new in my music. So that's one thing that I've had a lot of fun with. And there's no violin in Blue Diamond Light, but there will be more in future. So
I certainly hope so. What do you think you would like to try next?
That's a great question. The song that I'm co-writing with Jarreau Williams, who is, my actor in Hero Side, incredible singer-songwriter himself. And he's kind of in the, he's also pop, but he's more like Michael Jackson pop and a lot of like R&B and soul. So I hope that I get to delve into that world a little bit with this song that I'm working on with him. And that's kind of one that I haven't really tried yet. I mean, I've covered Alicia Keys, but that's the most R&B that I've gotten. So, and I love it. Like, it's just so, I don't know, groovy. I like it. And also I also really hope to keep exploring electronic music, because that's what I really love to listen to. I love electronic music a lot. So, and I feel like the vibe of my music would go well with electronic music, a lot of the themes of the songs. And I know that mine get pretty deep sometimes, but sometimes it just depends. Not all electronic music is super deep, or intense in terms of lyrics. Sometimes there's no lyrics at all, but I do want to keep explore. But a lot of them have like kind of a peaceful sort of vibe that my voice can do. So I want to keep exploring with it. I'm really happy with how Blue Diamond Light turned out, and gotten a really good response from everyone who's heard it so far. So I want to keep doing that. That's what I have in mind.
So looking ahead, I know that it's hard to plan for anything right now. So much is still kind of up in the air. But are you making any plans for, this year at all? Or is it more like take it as it comes and kind of roll with it?
That's a great question. Because right now I am really feel like I'm figuring things out. Right now, like I have a lot to think about with the new baby on the way. Baby's due in October. So yeah, I know. It'll be great. And so I'm almost like, okay, it's crunch time. Figure out your life. But that's probably not good to pressure myself. So I'm working on this, but I do have plans. I have a release plan for summer already, and it's already recorded. So that's exciting. And it's an acoustic version only so far, but it might stay that way. It's that's another thing, that this song was almost like a style of like a musical. And so that's different. And I'll plan on releasing that this summer. And then I have that collaboration with Jarreau that's planning to come out sometime this year, and also a collaboration with the CGC in general. I'm kind of doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I'm not going to be performing as much for that one, but still part of it and part of the release and the podcast so that we're doing is I'm very excited because we are focusing on elevating other musicians from the area, other local artists, and we've kind of like reached out to the community and gotten a lot of enthusiasm from them. So it was like cool because we get to do a little bit of what you do. And as I said before the episode, I have a full appreciation for what you do because I could hear myself, umming and, being imperfect, but that's okay. It's our first podcast. And I think that I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish because we still accomplished our goal. We got our artists' message out, and we also got to get to know them, which was probably just the most exciting part of it for me, just connecting with them. So there is still a lot planned for this year, even though performance-wise, I don't know a lot of the release dates for some of these things, but the podcast has already started, so everyone can check that out. Capital Groove Collective, and follow us at Capital Groove DC. And so, and the summer release is scheduled, so just watch out for that. But in terms of concerts and things, I really want to get a live show started. I want to get or live or online or both. That's sort of my next plan that I have in the works. I want to get, maybe how consistent, like, I don't know if I want to do a monthly show or quarterly or how I want to make that work because I was doing a lot of live streams. Sometimes they were really successful and great. I always loved doing it, but I love doing it when I had a big audience reacting. So I want to find where I can get a little bit more of that, but also hone my skills as a live performer. So that's kind of what I'm concocting and my evil plans that I have. So stay tuned. You never know what you're going to get, but I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, Stephanie, this has been a lot of fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's great to hear so many wonderful things happening in your life, personally, professionally. And folks, if you want to learn more about this wonderful performer, you can go to stephaniemathias.com. It has links to all her socials. Check out that because she's always dropping news about merch and music and videos and the whole 9 yards. And Stephanie, definitely looking forward to whatever comes next.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, as always, to chat with you.
Hi, this is singer Kate Eppers, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout.
Picture this. You finished your first book and nailed it. The plot, the characters, all the twists and turns. This one's a winner, and all you need is the right cover. If you've got my art skills, this is the part where panic usually sets in. Enter the cover villain, hero to writers everywhere. Founded by noted author Remy Flagg, Cover Villain focuses on composite image covers for science fiction and fantasy writers. Give them the details, and they'll craft a cover using popular trends that everyone will want to see. But wait, you say, I've got ideas of my own. No problem, as Cover Villain loves a good collaboration. As they say, our goal is to put a little villain in every cover we make. Want to know more? Then head to covervillain.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, folks, that brings this episode to a close. You can follow the show on Facebook under Citywide Blackout and Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max. Listen to the show on Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Boston Free Radio. To close things out, enjoy Stephanie's 2 new songs, Hero Side, followed by Blue Diamond Light. As always, keep those ears open.
I was taught to fight my own battles, 'cause an army at any time could fade away. chosen you to be my hero. 'Cause there are just some wars that I can't take, but sometimes you're so cold. So tell me, I need to know, could you be the one to rescue me? Can you show me your hero side? When I call, will you come and flying? When I'm cowering under fire from all the arrows aimed at me, when they bring on my kryptonite, will your powers come out of hiding? Can you show me everything that you can be? Show me your hero side. Show me your hero side. I know I'm not the only one with battles, 'cause I can see you fighting every day. But I'll be here to tell you you're my hero, 'cause you got me flying high in every way. 'Cause you're stronger than you know. Your heart is made of gold. You're someone worth rescuing. Let me show you my hero side. When you call, I will come and flying. When you're cowering under fire, no one knows those arrows more than me. When they bring out your kryptonite, I will pull you out from hiding so you can show them everything that you can be. I'll show you my hero side. 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 Show me your hero side. When I call, will you come and flying? Will you walk with me through the fire and all the demons that we meet? When they bring out the kryptonite, our powers will stop them fighting, and we'll show them everything that we can be. We'll show them our hero side. 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 I tell you I'm broken. You say others have it worse. I tell you I'm happy. You say it's what I don't deserve. I'm suppressing this anger without knowing that it hurts. It's time to cut the strings, giving myself wings, knowing what I'm worth. All this darkness has led me to a light that has been inside this whole time. It's like I'm right blue diamond in the night. I wanna follow its glowing fire and let it shine. Blue diamond light. Discover my gift of learning how to heal. I'm praying to let go of the guilt I never had to feel. I'm surrounded by angels who are watching over me. I'm more peaceful now than I've ever been, and it's all right here. All this darkness has led me to a light that has been inside this whole time. tell them